So I noticed that bees weren't coming out of this hive anymore. Just noticed some hovering bees coming around, and then I also noticed some debris out in the front. Bees normally keep their entrances pretty clean, so it kind of gave me a sign that this one might be dead. You can see this bee here is trying to get inside of it, but it's not using the main entrance, so that's a sign that it's trying to rob whatever's inside. And so what I'm gonna do is open up the hive and just double check that this colony is actually dead. So what I'm gonna do is open up the hive and double check that the hive is actually dead. And if it is, I'm just gonna keep it open for the other colonies to take whatever honey is left behind. It's winter time, so there's not much blooming, and it'll be good for the other bees to pretty much stock up on their honey supplies. It's free honey, so they don't have to do much work for it, and hopefully it'll help them survive the winter. I just brought my hive tool. I don't need a smoker because I suspect they're already dead, and I'm pretty sure they are. I've checked over the last 2 days to see if any bees were coming out, and it's been nice and sunny. It hasn't been too cold, so I'm pretty sure they're dead. I have this top piece as a rain cover for them. Right away, I don't see any bees on the cover. Normally you see a bunch of bees crawling around here, but there's nothing, and I don't see any bees on the top. It actually looks like they potentially absconded. I don't see much honey. I don't see any dead bees here at the top. I'll check the bottom in a minute. But it looks pretty empty for them to just have died, so they might have just up and left. And this one's pretty empty too. But I'm gonna check the bottom of this and see what's left. And there are also, hardly any dead bees on this. There were maybe 1 or 2 dead bees on here, but it's pretty clean, it's pretty empty, so I'm pretty sure this hive just left. Maybe they left a while ago, but I just noticed they were gone when I came back from a trip I went on. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is take some of these out But I don't think they died. I think they just moved somewhere else. Maybe before the cold started and I just didn't notice. But yeah, because there's no honey in these combs. Maybe there's a little bit, but not a lot. See, they're pretty empty. You can see all the way through them. They're not filled with any honey or pollen or larvae. Which usually is a sign that they took everything they could with them and they just left the hive, because it's pretty clean. Normally, if a hive dies, other bees will rob it. And when bees rob a hive, they don't care how clean they're leaving it. It's not their home. So you'll see a lot of debris everywhere when they're robbing it, but these are pretty clean. They're not uncapped by other bees. Some pieces are, but not very much, which leads me to think this hive just absconded and they took as much as they could with them. There are some bees in here taking what's left for sure, but it's not like they robbed the entire hive. Also, these darker spots usually are where the larvae are, or pollen. I see a little bit of pollen there, but bees. Check these. I'm gonna check these darker ones to see if my theory is true, if I see any larvae. No larvae. These bees are just, the bees you see hovering are just bees that are robbing what's left. There's like a tiny bit of honey in some of the spaces, but they might be robbing the rest of that honey. They also like to rob some of the wax sometimes, or the propolis around the boxes. And that's what they use to like seal the box. It's also antibacterial, so helps them prevent diseases. I'll leave this out for the rest of the day and let the bees take whatever they want. And then once the sun sets and it's dark, I'll bring in the comb to melt it down, filter it, and make some candles with it.